Hola everybody,
Mr. Worldwide!
it's your boy Benny and welcome back to the channel. If you are like me, you have wondered before what advice the ultra rich, so billionaires like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett would give to us, the mortal people. Especially in regards to topics like personal finance, self-improvement, or just life in general, which are these channel's topics by the way. This is why I've compiled a list for you today containing the advice from the ultra rich that could be really beneficial to us, the mortal people, and could change our perspectives. So let's get right into the video. The first piece of billionaire advice is first save, then spend. This concept is also known as pay yourself first. It describes taking a portion of your income, let's say 20%, but ideally as much as possible, immediately from your income or your paycheck as soon as you get it, and transferring it immediately into a savings account or an investment account. After that, then you're of course forced to live off what's left. This can be highly beneficial to our savings and investment goals because we all know what happens to unplanned money that's just laying around in our bank account.
And it's gone! Poof!
The way to do this is to decide on a specific percentage that you want to save and then ideally set up an automatic withdrawal on payday from your account into a different account so you don't ever see that money in the first place and be tempted to spend it on something stupid. A second thing the ultra rich encourage us to do is don't be afraid of failures. Many of us are afraid of failing, at least some of the time. But the true problem of fearing failure is when we let it stop us from achieving or pursuing our goals, or we let it stop us from living our best lives. And everybody, especially the ultra rich, have experienced more failures than you can imagine. For example, Michael Jordan, widely considered to be the best basketball player ever, was once cut from his high school varsity basketball team because his coach thought that he didn't have enough skill.
That's all I needed for him to do that, and it became personal with me.
The same exact failure happened to me, by the way. True story. But somehow it didn't work out with the greatest basketball player ever thing, but I'm working on that. Or another example, Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, right? He was fired from his own company in the early days, and yet he still became very successful in the end because he kept on pursuing. Failures actually inspire people to pursue their dreams even harder, and those people that actually then achieve their dreams consider these failures as one of their biggest learning experiences. Here quickly are a few ways to reduce the fear of failing. First, analyze all potential outcomes. Many people experience fear of failure because they fear the unknown. You can reduce that fear by analyzing all the potential outcomes. Second, learn to think more positively. Positive thinking is an incredible helpful tool to increase your confidence and reduce self-sabotage. Third, look at the worst case scenario. In some cases, the worst case scenario may truly be disastrous, and it's perfectly rational to actually fear failure. In other cases, however, for example, DMing a girl you find attractive on Instagram, the worst case may not be that bad at all. Trust me, recognizing this truly can help you. And fourth, have a contingency plan. If you're afraid of failing at something, having a plan B in place will help you feel more confident about moving forward. A good plan B, by the way, would be to give a like on this video if you enjoy the content so far. As it does take me quite a while to make these videos, I would truly appreciate the support. Another thing
legitness. Yeah.
Another thing all rich people advise you to do is to build multiple income streams. One study found that 65% of all self-made millionaires have 3 or more income streams. Having multiple income streams is the same idea as diversifying your investment portfolio with multiple stocks in different countries. I will be making a video on all kinds of easy to start passive income sources very soon, so if you're interested, subscribe. The idea is that if one income stream suffers or completely gets eliminated, the others will make up for it. And you may be asking, but what if none of them suffer? Well, then you make a ton of money, just like the ultra rich, right? And just like the ultra rich, you should do the next thing, which is pursuing what you're passionate about. Time and again, billionaires talk about how important passion is and how it can shape one's life. In one inspiring speech, Amazon CEO and richest person on the planet, by the way, Jeff Bezos, said this about passion. Having a passion is a gift. I think we all have buried passions, and you don't get to choose them, they pick you. This is specifically addressing a huge mistake many people, including me, sometimes make, and that is forcing an interest on them if it's just not for them. Jeff Bezos also talks about how passion is fantastic because if it gives you direction and purpose. He says, you can have your job, a career, or you can have your calling, and that is the best thing. So the next one is a really big one. It is advice from Warren Buffett, the investing legend. And you should truly know about this and really practice it. Never invest in a business that you cannot understand. Only invest in what you know. One of the easiest avoidable mistakes is getting involved with an investment or life decision that is overly complex and you simply just don't understand at the moment. Many of us have spent our entire lives working or just getting in touch with a few select businesses or industries. And we probably have a reasonably strong idea of how these markets work, who are the best companies in that space. However, the far majority of publicly traded companies participate in industries that we don't have a clue about at all, or at least I don't. This does not mean we can't invest capital in these areas of the market. We just have to be really careful about it. In my view, the far majority of companies operate businesses that are just way too difficult for me to comfortably understand. I'll be the first one to tell you that I just cannot predict the success of a biotechnology company's drug pipeline, nor can I predict the next major fashion brand for teenies, although I do have swag obviously, or identify the next technological breakthrough that will drive the growth in semiconductor chips. Such factors majorly impact the earnings generated by companies in the market and are arguably impossible to forecast. When I come across such a business that is too complex or too difficult for me to understand, my simple response is just, nope.
Hell no!
There are just too many fish out there in the sea for you to just drop everything you do and study a company that is just too complex for you or for me and spend the entire day or the entire week trying to understand their business model. If you can't get a grasp on it, it's just not worth it. And that is why Warren Buffett famously stayed away from the technological sector and sticked to chewing gums. Personally, if I cannot get a reasonable understanding of how the company makes money and what the main impact drivers on the industry of the company are within 10 minutes, then I move on to the next idea. Peter Lynch, another investment legend, once said, "Never invest in an idea you can't illustrate with a pencil." Many mistakes can be avoided by staying in your circle of competence. Only invest in what you know. The next piece of advice of the rich would be to focus on the bigger goals or focus on the bigger picture. Whether we're working towards an impossible goal or dealing with difficult relationships, for example, as mentioned earlier, DMing girls on Instagram.
Good evening.
Or maybe beginning a New Year's resolution to start a new and healthier lifestyle. Stepping back, identifying and returning to our big picture goal is one of the essential keys for success, according to billionaires like Elon Musk, for example. So how could you start with this right now? Set aside little chunks of your time for introspection and observation. Do things that make you feel calm and connected to your thoughts, yourself, and the environment. You could start small with a 5-minute morning meditation or a 15-minute walk at lunch, and combine that by beginning to ask yourself a couple of questions. When do you feel the happiest? Is it when you're creating something, or is it when you're spending time with the people you love? Shouldn't then everything else you do lead to creating more time and ways to actually do what you enjoy? So the big picture is always something to keep in mind. The next thing billionaires will also tell you is to stop the consumer rat race. Through the previous idea, you ideally now have a better idea of what you want. You can now eliminate what you don't necessarily need and start using your money and time wisely. First, stop buying things you don't need. Declutter your physical space and find richness in connection, simplicity, and experiences. Second, stop accepting responsibilities or opportunities that simply do not interest you. This approach equates to emotional or mental decluttering. This provides you more space and energy for your goals. And last but not least, of course, always invest in yourself and your financial IQ. I already made a video about this topic, as this is what my channel is about. So I will leave a link either up here or down in the description if you want to check it out. And yeah, that's it. If you enjoyed the content, please consider liking the video and joining the movement by subscribing to my channel. I regularly post videos with a lighthearted take on ways to acquire a financial IQ and self-improvement topics. If you want to, you can contact me on pretty much all socials right here at Benny Springer. And yeah, I would be very glad to hear from some of you. Thanks a lot for the support, I really appreciate it. And with that being said, take it easy. Until the next time, I'm out. Yo.